Good morning. Let me start with the class. The next topic here we are going to discuss is IPv4, right? IPv4 address. Fine. Before going to see what is IPv4 address, you need to know what is an internet address, or it is also called as IP address, correct? Internet protocol address. So what is this address? Internet address is nothing but it is an identifier. Okay, it is an identifier basically used to identify the connection of different devices. Okay, connection to the internet. Is it clear? So what is an internet address? It is nothing but it is an identifier which is used to identify the different connections of different various devices to the internet. So this is called internet address. And where are we using these particular identifier or internet addresses? It has been used basically in the IP layer of a TCP/IP protocol. Is this is clear? So this is all about internet address. So next we have to see what is IPv4 address, right? So IPv4 address is a 32-bit, correct? It is a 32-bit address. So it's 32-bit address, which is basically used to define the connection of an host or a router to the internet. Is it clear? So it is an address that defines the connection of a host, or it can be a devices, or can be a router to the internet. So that connection of a host or a router to the internet, that particular address, you call it as a IPv4 address. And these IPv4 address is unique one, and it is universally identified also. So that is what is your IPv4 address. What is the difference between this IP address and IPv4 address here is the IP address, as I told, it is basically the address of a connection, right? The address of a connection, not the address of a particular host or a router. Is it clear? Is this is clear? So IPv4 is basically for that particular host or a router. The IP address is just the address of a, okay, it is the address of the connection. The identifying the connection is an IP address. IPv4 is basically identify the connection of that particular host. Correct. So IPv4 is a 32-bit address. So IP address is basically what? IP address is basically the address of a IP is basically the address of a connection, and it is not the address of the host or a router. So one example of one the version of IP is a IPv4, right? That is the version 4 IPv4. Is it clear? So what is IP? IP is nothing but IP Internet Protocol address. One version of IP is a IPv4. Next topic here is address space. So what is this address space? Address space here is nothing but the total number of addresses used by a IPv4 protocol. Okay, so the total the address space is the total number of the address space is the total number of addresses used by a protocol. Okay, say for example, if a protocol uses b bits to define an address, okay, if it uses b bits to define any address, the address space is 2 power b. Okay, so what is address space? Is the total number of addresses, right? Total number of addresses. So if a protocol uses b bits, so what is the total number of address or address space? Here it is 2 power b. Fine. For example, if IPv4 uses 32 bits, it uses 32 bits, which means that the address space is 2 power 32, or it can also be written in terms of this. So it is more than 4 billion, correct? So what does these indicates here? So these indicates that there, if I mean more than 4 billion devices can be connected to the internet. So this indicates more than 4 billion devices can be connected to the internet. Is this is clear? So this is all about IP. This is all about IPv4 and the IPv4 address, right? Address space. So address space, you just remember it is the total number of addresses used by a protocol and total number of addresses. So how are we identifying a total number of addresses? Suppose it depends on the number of bits used to define an address. If you use 32 bits to define an address, so 2 power 32, so those many devices can be connected to the internet. Okay, those many devices can be connected to the internet. Is this concept is clear now? So address space is clear. So address space is basically the total number of addresses used by the protocol. Okay, fine. So there are three different notations used in IPv4 addressing. So what are these notations? ARS. One is binary notation. Okay, so each and every, I mean, the address space is defined with a binary numbers. So if you can see here, it is a 8 bits. It is divided into different 8 bits, right? Into different groups, 8 bits of 8 bits each. So each of this 8 bit, you call it as a byte. We already know, sir, right? So what is a byte? It is like 8 bits. You call it as a byte. It has been separated by one or more spaces. Okay, it has been separated by one or more spaces. So you can see here. So this is a binary representation. So the other notation of IPv4 addressing is a dotted decimal. So what is this dotted decimal? See, this dotted decimal here is a dotted decimal here is, so each and every 8 bit can be represented with a decimal number. Okay, it can be represented with a decimal number, and these decimal number is separated. You see here, how are we separating each and every bits here? Each and every bytes, how are we separating? We are separating it with a space, correct? So in the decimal dotted decimal representation, we are separating it with a dots, correct? So that is why this is named as dotted decimal. Is this is clear? So the dotted decimal is this concept is clear? So uh, each and every byte in terms of binary is represented with a decimal number, and that is being separated by a dot. Clear? Fine. So why are we moving from a binary to a dotted decimal is the next question, because if you see here, it is in terms of zeros and ones, correct? So in order to make the address more readable, correct? In order to make the address more readable, we are moving to the dotted decimal notation. Clear? So the next notation, which has been used over here, is hexadecimal, which is in many cases we will represent the IPv4 addressing with hexadecimal. So what is this hexadecimal? Hexadecimal representation, each hexadecimal digit over here. So for example, F1 is separate digits, right? So each hexadecimal digit is equivalent to 4 bits. Okay, so each hexadecimal digit is equivalent to 4 bits. This means what? 32 address, as if this is a 32-bit address, right? So if you see here, it is a 32-bit address, right? For a 32-bit address, it requires 8 hexadecimal digits. So it requires how many? It requires 8 hexadecimal digits. Sorry, 8 hexadecimal digits. Is this is clear? So where are we using these hexadecimal representation of IPv4 addressing is, it is basically used whenever you are dealing with network programming. Is it clear? So whenever we are dealing with network programming, we are using these notations. Clear? So there are three different notations in IPv4 addressing. One is binary notation, dotted decimal notation, and the other one is hexadecimal notation. Clear? So in case of binary, it is represented with a binary number 0 to 1. Okay, is this is clear? So binary numbers, and you have 8 bits, a collection of 8 bit, you call it as bytes, right? So you call it as a byte, and then each and every byte is separated by a one or more spaces. So the binary representation has been used, has been converted, or it has been either represented in a dotted decimal or it can be hexadecimal also. So why are we moving to dotted decimal? Because to make the address more readable format, correct? So convert this into the decimal, it gives 31. So this is 3, we know, right? So it is 3. So it is 11. So 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 1, 11. So this is 128, something like this, correct? This is a dotted decimal. So separated with dots. Convert this. I mean, you can also represent this in terms of hexadecimal. 4 bits is represented with 1 hexadecimal digit. Clear? Is this concept is clear? Different notations of IPv4. Fine. So next we need to talk about hierarchy in addressing. So what is this hierarchy? In any communication network, Okay, any communication network, what happens, we involve a delivery of something, correct? It's a delivery of messages. For example, consider a telephone network, correct, where the message has to deliver. Postal network, where the mail or whatever has to deliver to the, so delivery is involved in a communication network, correct? So in such cases, the addressing system is hierarchy. For example, in case of postal network, okay, observe what is the hierarchy of addressing. First, you need to write the country, then country name, then state, followed by street, house number, all those things. So this is a hierarchy of addressing. Correct. In case of telephone, it is divided into various, the codes, the phone number is divided into various, the country code, area code, local exchange, and then the connection, all those things. Correct. So this is a telephone, in case of telephone network. So the address has some hierarchy. Correct. So even a 32-bit IPv4 address is also hierarchical one. Okay, is this is clear? The IPv4 32-bit IPv4 address is also an hierarchical one. It is divided into basically two parts. If you see here, the first part here is a, so it is of IPv4 is of how many bits? It is 32 bits. Addressing is of 32 bits. It is divided into two parts. One is prefix and the other one is suffix. Clear? So the prefix here indicates or it defines the network. Okay, it talks about the networks. So it defines the network. So suffix defines the connection to the node. Okay, the connection to the node. This is clear? So it defines the connection to the node. And if you what else can you observe from this diagram? The prefix and the suffix. Correct. The prefix is of how many bits? It is n bits. Suffix is of 32 minus n bits. Okay, suffix is of n bits. 32 is of 32 minus n bits. So it is, this is of n bits. So this you call it as a length of a prefix. The length of a prefix is how much? Length of a prefix is n bits. This is clear? Okay. Then another point you should remember over here is the prefix can be of fixed length or it can be variable length. Okay, the prefix can be fixed length. So for example, 16, 32, something like this, right? 64 or something like this. So it can be fixed one or it can be variable length also. Fine. Is this concept is clear? So the addressing, IPv4 addressing, there is an hierarchy over here, and the addressing, it has been basically divided into two parts. One is prefix and the other one is suffix. What is this prefix defines? It defines the entire network. What is the suffix does? This defines the connection to a node. Okay, it defines the connection to the node. And how many bits of this is prefix? Prefix is of n bits. How many bits of this suffix? Suffix is of 32 minus n bits. Correct. So in total, it is 32. If this is of n bits, obviously this should be 32 minus n bits. Okay. And this prefix should be of variable length or it can be a fixed length. Is this concept is clear? Fine. This is a hierarchy in addressing. So the next concept we need to go over here is a classful addressing. So what is this classful addressing? We know IPv4 addressing, we know when it initially started, right? When the internet is initially started, this IPv4 addressing is basically, we know in the previous slide I told it can be fixed length or it can be variable length. But initially when it started, it is basically of fixed length. Okay, so it was basically designed with a fixed length prefix. IPv4 designed with a prefix, fixed length prefix. But in order to accommodate the different types or different sizes of networks, in order to accommodate different sizes of network, these fixed length prefixes were basically divided into three types. Okay, it was basically divided into three different fixed prefixes. One is n with 8, n with 16, n with 24. So in this example, if you see, there are three different prefixes, prefixed one. So one is 8, 16, and the other one is 24. Okay, so 8, 16, and 24. This was the fixed length prefixes was what it has been designed instead of only defining it with only single prefix length, right? So three fixed length prefixes has been designed now. So next, what is an address space? Correct. Address space is nothing but the collection of addresses. Correct. So the whole address space was divided into 5 different classes. We are dealing with classful addressing. So here In classful addressing, the whole address space is divided into 5 different classes. So what are those 5 different classes? It is class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. Clear? So in case of classful addressing, in case of classful addressing, the whole address space is divided into 5 different classes. So what are those classes? Class A, B, C, D, and E. Clear? So this scheme you refer to as a classful addressing because you have a classes, correct? So classful addressing because the address space is divided into various 5 different classes. So now how are we occupying this address space in classful addressing? Correct. So we know that we told that there are different classes which has been defined in the classful addressing. Different classes has been defined in classful addressing. So how are we occupying all the address space in a classful addressing is the next question. In case of class A, with the class A, the network length is of how much? It is of 8 bits, correct? So let me just write it. In case of class A, correct? In case of class A, the network address I told the fixed. I mean the network length is of fixed length, right? The network length in case of class A is 8 bits. Okay, it is 8 bits. In case of class A, the network length is of 8 bits. So out of these 8 bits, okay, out of these 8 bits, 0, the first bit. Okay, so class A has 8 bits. So out of these 8 bits, the first bit, okay, the first bit is which represents or identifies the class, which class belongs to, correct? If you see any address, the first bit represents which class it belongs to, that is class A or not. So 0, which is represented by 0, correct? For a class A. Remaining is how much? Remaining is 7 bits. So the 7 bits, okay, is only used for a network identifier. Identifier in the sense the address, unique address, correct? So the network identifier. This means there are how many networks you can use? So 2 power 7. So 2 power 7 is nothing but 128, correct? So 128 networks can have class A address. Is this concept is clear? So how many networks can have one class A address? Only 128 networks can have class A address. Why this 128? Because class A is of only 8 bit network, correct? So it is of only 8 bit network, 8 bits. It's of network length is of 8 bits. So out of this 8 bits, the first bit is been used to identify the to define the class, which class it belongs to, correct? Is this is clear? Okay. So in case of class B, now go for class B. In case of class B, the network length over here is 16 bits. Okay, the network length over here is 16 bits. Okay, here in this case, the first 2 bits, okay, the first 2 bits is used. First 2 bits are used to define the class. So that is 1, 0. Okay, so 1, 0 is the first 2 bits which are used to define the class. So remaining is how many bits? Out of 16, 2 is been used. Remaining is 14 bits, correct? So remaining 14 bits is used to for a network identifier. So how many network you can provide with class C? So 2 power 14, which is around 16,000, I guess, right? So 16,000 networks in the world can have class B address. Is it clear? Okay. In case of class C, okay, in case of class C, I mean the network length over here is 24 bits. Okay, the network length over here is 24 bits. Out of these 24 bits, 3 bits are used to define the class or belong to class, that is 1, 1, and 0. So 3 bits are used to identify or defines the class, and remaining is how much out of 24? 21 is been used to for a network address. So 2 power 21. So 2 power 21 is around some around 20 lakhs or something, right? So 2 power 21. So around those many networks in the world can have class C address. So 2 power 21. 2 power 21 networks in the world can have class C address. Is this is clear? Fine. Next, we will go to class D and class E, correct? So class D, if you see, okay, class D, if you see, it does not have a neither a prefix nor a suffix. It does not have a prefix or suffix. Okay, so class, what is that? Class D will not have a prefix or a suffix. Will not have a prefix or suffix. So it is basically used for different addressing, that is multicast addressing. Okay, so how are we identifying a class D? It is 1, 1, 1 and 0. Okay, next is class E. So class E is basically 1, 1, 1, 1 identified with this particular address. Fine. So let me show you this with the diagram. So if you observe in this diagram, so this is the address space. You know, there are 4 billion address space, right? 4 billion addresses you can have with IPv4, that is to power 32, right? To power 32. So you can divide this. 50% of this address space is belongs to class A, and remaining 25% is for class B, C for 22.12.5, D with 6.25, E with 6.25, something like this. Correct? Fine. So fine. So this is what I was explaining you. So in case of class A, how are we identifying it with, how are we identifying the prefix? If you observe here, the prefix is of variable length, correct? The prefix is of variable length. In case of class A, it is 8 bits. In class B, it is, in case of class B, it is 16 bits, 8 and 8, it is 16 bits. In class C, it is 32 bits. This is I was talking about, correct? So not 32, right? 8, 24. It is 24 bits. So 8 plus 8 plus 8. So the 24 bits. So first bit, that is 0, has been used to represent class A. 10 has been used in class B to represent class B. 110 is used to represent C. So the remaining bits, that is 7 bits. Here in this case, it is 14 bits. Here in this case, it is 21 bits are used to represent the prefix. And the remaining. So what is remaining? N minus, correct? So that's, sorry, 32 minus n. N is what? This one. So in this case, it is 32 minus 8. So the remaining will be suffix. So the remaining, so 32 minus n, that is 16. So 16 minus, sorry, 32 minus 16 will give you 16. So 16 is divided into half of each. Correct? So similar way here, 32 minus 24, the remaining will be assigned to suffix. Clear? So what were we were using suffix? It is basically used to define the connection. Correct? It is basically used to define the network. Prefix is basically used to define the network. Are you clear with this class A, class B, class C? Okay. Next, I was talking about class D and class E. Class D is basically, I told there are no prefix or suffix. It is basically used for a multicast address. Okay. So in this case, the first 4 bits are used to represent or used to define the class D. 1, 1, 1 and 0. It is used to define the class D. Clear with this concept? So here no prefix or suffix. It is basically used for multicast address. So next is class E. Class E, again it is when the first 4 bits are used, 1, 1, 1, 1, to define a class E. Fine. And what for we are using this? This class E is basically used or reserved for future use. It is basically used or reserved for a future use. Is this concept is clear? Is this concept is clear? Okay. It is basically used for reserved for a future purpose. So the same thing has been applied, represented over here. So if you see here, class A, B, C, D, E, it is not applicable because you don't have prefix or suffix, correct? So it is not applicable, you don't have prefixes over here. In case of class A, the prefixes of 8 bits, 16 bits, and 24 bits. This is what I was talking about, correct? The prefixes is being fixed, is been given with fixed size initially. So one is 8 bits, 16 bit, and 24 bit. So each has been assigned to different classes. So class A, class B, and class D. Clear? So what is this 8 bit? So what is the first byte over here? It is 0 to 127, first byte. Because you know it is 2 power 8, 2 power 8, right? So 2 power 8 is 120, 128, so it is nothing but 0 to 28. So next is 128 to 191, 192 to 223, something like this, from this to this. And for class D, it is 224 to 239, right? And we are talking about the first byte. Correct? We're talking about the first byte. And for E, it is for class E, it is 242, 255. This concept is clear. So this is how the address has been represented. So one important topic you should remember over here is these different classes and what is its respective prefix lengths, correct? And what is the length of a network identifier for each of these classes also you should remember. Then the network length also you should remember for each of these classes. Okay, this is one of the important topic. Next, we are moving to a classless addressing, from a classful address to the classless addressing. Okay, so why we need to move to the classless addressing when we have a classful address here, correct? What is the disadvantage, or what is making us to move to classless from class full addressing is because due to the one major concept or major point here is a address depletion. Okay, so that is address depletion. So what is this address depletion? Address depletion here is because the addresses here are not distributed properly. Correct? It is some, see, if you see here, it is not distributed properly. Some percentage to A, some percentage to B. Correct? So all these addresses are not distributed properly. In this case, what happens? The internet was faced problem with addresses being rapidly used up. Okay, so which makes the organizations going short of addresses, I mean, sometimes it results to no address also in order to assign to certain hosts or something like this, correct? Consider an example. In order to understand this in a better way. Consider an organization, say 128 organizations in the world. Okay, the classes can be assigned to only 128 organizations, but each of the organization needs a single network. For example, if what you can say, if I'm talking about class A, right? So class A can be assigned to 128 organizations, but only few of them requires it, others don't require it. So there is a wastage of network, or sorry, there is a wastage of addresses. Next comes class B address. It was basically designed for a mid-size organization, very minimal, I mean, the organization which works with a limited size, but many of the addresses in these cases are also remain unused. Okay, so similar way for class C, class D, and class E, correct? So what I was talking about here, consider in case of class A, 128 organizations can be assigned, but only few of them uses. I mean, all of these organizations are large enough, but most of the addresses may be unused over there. In case of class B, even though it is used for mid-size, only the less amount of addresses has been given, but somehow, even though there also some of the addresses may be misused or wasted. Correct. Due to this, the address depletion will actually happen whenever it is actually required. Correct. In order to overcome this, they went to a concept called subnetting and supernetting. Okay, so what is this subnetting and what is the supernetting? Subnetting, right? So subnetting is basically, okay, subnetting is basically, the class A and class B, correct? So class A, class B addresses are a block. It is divided into various subnets. That is what is subnetting. So it is divided into various subnets. It is divided into various subnets. So each of these subnet has a prefix which is larger or greater than the original network's prefix. Okay, each of the subnet prefix is more than the original prefix. What are we doing in subnetting? We are dividing a larger blocks into smaller ones. We are dividing a larger blocks into smaller ones and allocating this to the organization. But because of these, the organizations were not happy because they don't want to divide their larger block into smaller block. They were not happy with this. So instead of subnetting, they went to a supernetting. Okay, supernetting concept. So what is the supernetting concept here? The basic idea of the supernetting is combining the several class C blocks. Okay, combining the several class C blocks into larger block. Okay, into larger block, which gives, actually it was attractive to the organizations But there was a difficulty of routing the packets. But there was a difficulty in routing the packets. Okay, so why are we talking about subnetting and supernetting? Because there was a problem with the IPv4. There was a problem here with the class full addressing. What was the problem? Address depletion was a problem. So how are we overcoming with this address depletion? It is basically with the supernetting and the subnetting. In case of subnetting, we are dividing the addresses of class A and class B into various subnets. It is simply nothing but dividing a larger block into smaller block. So the organizations were not happy with this. So they went to supernetting. In case of supernetting, we are it is just something like combining the various to something like combining the various class C addresses to form a larger blocks. Correct. But here the problem is what you can say, that transmitting the packets, routing the packets was a problem. Correct. So these were the drawbacks of class full addressing. So in order to overcome, they went to the classless addressing. Correct. But if you observe, there is some advantages of classful addressing also. So what is the advantage of classful addressing? You know, there is a prefix. Correct. So whenever you want to identify, okay, whenever you want to get the prefix length of a prefix length, we need not to get an extra information. We need not to extra information is actually not required in order to extract the prefix and the suffix from a given address. Okay, suppose if some address is given, something like this 255 or something like some address is given, you need not to use of another extra information in order to extract prefix and suffix, because prefix and suffix has already been inherited along with the address. Correct. So that is one of the advantage of classful addressing. Clear. So we know, yes, there was, the subnetting and supernetting in classful addressing were not actually solving the problem of address depletion we were talking about in classful addressing. So in order to overcome this, they went to a classless addressing. Okay. So what is this classless addressing is all about then? So classless addressing here, okay, classless addressing is nothing but, yes, there is no classes over here. Okay. The whole address space, correct? So in case of classful, what we were doing, whole address space was divided into various classes. Here, whole address space is divided into variable length blocks. I'll just go through this diagram, which will give you a clear understanding. It is basically divided into, this is the address space, correct? So what are we doing in the classful? We're dividing it into various addresses, classes, correct? In case of classless addressing, we are dividing it into various variable length, correct? So variable length blocks, if you see that block 1 is of variable different length and block 2 is of different length, so it is of variable length blocks. Got the point? So in case of classless addressing, what are we doing? Dividing the address space into variable length blocks. The prefix, okay, the prefix in the address, okay, defines the block. Again, here we will have a prefix and suffix, right? So prefix obviously defines the network, suffix defines the device, same way, correct? Defines the network or the device here, correct? If you see here, there is one restriction over here. What is the restriction in this case here is, whatever the block we are dividing this address space into various blocks, all these blocks should be of 2 power. Okay, it should be a power of 2. Get the point? It should be a power of 2, which means it can be 2 power 0. Correct? So it can be 2 power 0, 2 power 1, or 2 power 2, or something like this. So it should be 2 power, it should be power of 2. Did you get the point? So for example, 2 power 1 is 2. So this can be of, this block can be of size 2 bits. This block can be of size 2 power 2, that is 4 bits. Something like this. So it should be a power of 2. Is this concept is clear? So this is all about the variable length blocks in classless addressing. So the classless addressing is basically the address space is divided into variable length blocks. Here, what is the restriction over here? The restriction in this example, in this variable length block here is, it should be, the variable length should be of 2 power of 2. The address in terms of classless is 2 power, or in the sense of power of 2. Okay, fine. So the next one is slash notation, correct? So what is the slash notation? Um, okay, okay, let me explain you in this way. So suppose if you have a suppose if any address has been given to you, correct? Any address has been given to you, you need to identify. How are we identifying the prefix length? Okay, so how are we identifying the prefix length? Is the question is clear? We have given we have given an address. We need to identify a prefix length. So how are we doing this prefix length identification? Is basically with using the slash notation. Okay, the prefix length n. Okay, we are adding the prefix length n to the address itself. This is the address, correct? So this is the address, which is what type of address representation over here? Because it is a dotted notation, correct? Because you can see here it is dotted. So every bit, every byte has been represented with a dot. So this is an address. So along with these, you are including the length of prefix length, that is n, by preceding it with slash. I mean by prefixing it with slash. So this slash notation usually indicates, followed by the slash is whatever the number which is given here is a prefix length. So this is also been called as CIDR. What is the CIDR? It is a classless interdomain routing. CIDR, classless interdomain routing. Classless interdomain routing. That is what CIDR is all about. It has also been called as CIDR. Okay, so classless interdomain routing. Is this concept is clear? This is a prefix length. One examples for this is 12.2476.8. So slash 8. So 8 is what? 8 is a prefix length. 12 here is a prefix length. 25 here is a prefix length. Is this concept is clear? Okay. So now how are we extracting the information in a classless addressing? How are we extracting the information here is basically okay, something like this, the number of addresses. So basically we are interested in extracting three different informations. One is the address, the number of addresses, and first address and the last address. So these three information we are actually interested in getting extracting from any given address. So any given address we need to extract. We are interested in extracting three informations. One is the number of addresses, first address, and the second address. Am I clear? Okay. How are we extracting the number of addresses? It is n is equal to 2 power 32 minus n. So this is 32 minus n. 2 power 32 minus n will give you the number of addresses. Clear? Fine. So how are we extracting the first address? So how are we extracting the first address is basically we keep the first n bits, n leftmost bits. What is n leftmost bits? It is nothing but prefix. So we are keeping the prefix as it is. The remaining 32 minus n bits, that is the suffix, all suffix we are making it to 0. If you do this, you will get the first address. How are we getting the last address? Keep the prefix as it is, suffix you make it to ones. Is it clear? So what are we doing here? Three informations we are extracting from any given address. One is the number of address, first address, and the second address. How are we getting the number of address? It is 2 power 32 minus n. 2 power 32 minus n will give you the number of address. How are we getting the first address? Keep the prefix as it is, suffix you will replace it with zeros.